going to great lengths to go over and look at them. Looks like two interestingly designed buildings, perhaps to fit into irregular spaces, at least the one on the right and behind. Well, the train seems to suggest something. Oh, there's the tennis courts. That's right behind and to my left. So this must mean you are here. Walk up here and then to there. Okay, it's very interesting because very pretty cherry blossoms, even on a cloudy day. Goody, another set of steep stairs to climb. This is probably justifiably sponsored by JR. Probably serves as their museum. And these are probably models of various modern engines, electrical. And cars, which aren't the most modern ones, so they must be a little bit older. And a display of some of the Incredibles, but not the most incredible. This one's starting to look like it. But I think I've seen others with even more radical designs. This apparently portrays the moving of this train from a track into a permanent museum berth. And the movement of some others by cranes. What an era trains were in the old days. Still are today in progressive countries, except for the United States. Otherwise, they all seem to look the same, those old ones. Unless you're a railroad guy or spend a considerable amount of time looking. But imagine when these were the epitome of their technology. And their speeds were deafeningly fast. Print from the really old days. And society gathered around to watch, to ride. Wonder what that was used for. Maybe for carrying large spools of cable at the right. This scene could be right out of America. This must depict one of the earliest exhibits of a train, perhaps before it actually went into commercial use. It was just for promotional reasons. This looks more like a printing press. Huh. This perhaps detailing the origin of the technology of steam. The model train, sets of model trains. A collection of model trains, including these that I'm particularly attracted to, the old ones. And quickly segueing into more modern. And a good example is the one on top and the one below. Look at the lines of this one. Remember, a lot of these designs came from the technology derived from observation of the kingfisher bird's entry into the water. And alongside these giant old ones, well, and that small old one, a little kids one to get the kids to understand and empathize with the railroad. I certainly remember this size of engine, steam engine in Charlotte down along the river, where they used to haul coal in and out from the Coburg docks that brought the coal in or coal out, I can't remember, from Canada. Being an engineer must have been like being a riverboat captain on the Mississippi. or being a 747 pilot when they first came out. Imagine a poor bastard whose job was to unload this whole bin full of coal, one shovel at a time, into that hole. Did he have nightmares? I'm sure. Although he was probably too tired to have nightmares. But just imagine sitting at these controls, which look so primitive, so mechanical, so steel and iron and heavy. But this was the wind. Imagine that you were the conductor, or not the conductor, but the, whatever it is, the engineer. You'd lean back here and blow the whistle right there. See it? Right there. Pull that handle and blow the whistle when you're coming into a small town. They knew you were coming. They were all lined up on the streets to see this magnificent machine. And you'd lean out the window and wave to the kids who were waving back, and wave at the kids who were on horseback trying to follow you when you left town, trying to keep up. These few simple controls, 1, 2, 3, some gauges there, and some valves to open and close them, some more gauges. These things for whatever purpose, put in different position, you can see. Is that a brake? Primitive as hell, isn't it? What was this for? That was probably a critical one to steam. But who knows? I don't. Look at that setup of valves there. What it would take to fine-tune this like a good violin. The engineer would know. As he rolled down the track, covering endless miles, listening to every tick, looking out for every bizarre note that his machine gave out to him. I just noticed this padded cushion device here that pivots up when the wind is open and locks in across here, so that the engineer, as well as his mate on the right side, can rest their arm on there in the endless hours that they lean out the window or have to sit here. Compared to our lightweight plastics, it's bolted on with heavy, almost 3/4 inch rod and big bolts, maybe 1/2 inch bolts. Did they open that door to keep it cool in the summer, close it, and then the boiler kept you toasty warm during the winter? Did they have some kind of flap that closed off this back part? What's this tube for? It followed the wheel. So you wonder, what did it do? Did it blow stuff off the track? Did it heat up the track? Did it put something on the track? This innovation for? It's radiating heat of some sort. It's got a piston in it. Was this engine just for like moving cars around, or as a stop? Those are brakes, or stops at least. You usually see those mounted on a pretty solid foundation in a station, for example. Stop a train if for some bizarre reason it goes too far. The leaf springs, an innovation perhaps, for sure. The greater complexity, it appears, of pieces of machinery Was it always open like this? Did they have a way to close it off? This part is closed off. You'd think it only makes sense in the wintertime to close off these door portions somehow. It was, because it's got them in the front too. This we can see, they've designed it so that we can see cutouts, so what was going on inside of it. Huh, this is interesting, isn't it? So this is the boiler. Those tubes get heated up by just the raw heat, and they heat up water or create steam somehow. Why all open at the end? I don't understand this technology yet. There must have been water tanks in here. God, it reminds me of sitting at the back end of a bomb, and you're controlling a bomb in front of you so it doesn't explode, but just does good energy producing work. This is one of the earliest electrical engines, no doubt. It's the size of this baby. Jeez. How massive it is. And why this curious front end? What did it do, I wonder? Something to see that rolling down the track. It must have been a thunderous thing. Old passenger wagon. Sadly, it's redundant looking at these because you don't know that much about them. They all kind of start to look the same. No matter which one you look at, they still generally seem the same. Probably the technology is pretty straightforward. Just all this stuff here to fine-tune it. This is coming down the hill from the Railroad Museum, looking over those cherry blossoms and across the town of Ome up into the mountains in the back. One of the mountains up there I climbed yesterday, Mount Otaki, or Odaki, depending upon who's doing the spelling. This looks like a classic old structure. Notice on the hillside a cemetery. That's kind of a museum, I guess.
The door on the right side will open. 乗り降りの際にはボタンを押してください。八王子 and Takao. The number line and the top.
This is how you demolish a building from the inside. Rex jaws. And it literally just chews up that stuff. You can see the jaws right there. He'll just bite into a floor full of cement and rebar.